Hey there. I am Jean, and I'm here to share a story of breaking free from the same old patterns and escaping the grip of a toxic relationship with my ex-husband, Jackson. This story's a ride with all the ups, downs, and the ultimate quest for self-discovery. I'm putting it out there for all the women and even men who are dealing with something similar, hoping to give them strength to take a step against what is wrong. Let me begin by telling you about Jackson, the man I once thought was my everything. We crossed paths in college and he had that classic bad boy vibe that got me all starry-eyed. Little did I know that underneath that magnetic exterior was a world of crazy. After we got our diplomas, he proposed to me and I said, yes. If I could go back in time to save myself from making a mistake, that is the moment I would like to go back to. Neither of us had a real job. We were barely scraping by on these crummy, low-paying gigs that could barely cover the rent for our shoebox-sized apartment. Back then, it felt like an adventure. But looking back, it was just a big red flag. Now, Jackson? He would always say he loved me more than life itself, showering me with affection. But as time passed, I started to see that it was not love. Not the healthy kind, anyway. It was an obsession. The guy was off the charts, jealous and overbearingly possessive, qualities I had mistaken for mere protectiveness. Oh, and Jackson, he had this thing for turning the most innocent things into full-blown dramas. I could not count the number of times he would get crazy jealous over folks just smiling at me when we were out and about. I mean, seriously, he would get mad at my own cousins for trying to get close to me. Back then, I tried to convince myself it was just his way of showing how much he loved me. It seemed almost cute in a twisted way. But deep down, I knew something was not right. It got way more extreme than that. I remember the day he asked me to quit my job, and it was all because he did not like the guys I worked with.
Babe, I needed to talk to you about something. I think you should quit your job.
What? Why, Jackson, don't you trust me?
It's not about trust, Jean. It's those guys you work with. I do not trust them.
You can't just hide me away from the world, Jackson.
I wish I could, babe. I just worry about the people. It's not a safe world we live in.
You don't get it. With the degree I have, I can get a better job. That means a better life for us.
You know I have a degree too, babe. From the same college as you, in fact. I'm a bit slow right now. I promise one day I'll be able to provide you with everything you deserve.
Jackson, it is not about what you can provide. I never doubted your ability. I need to work on my career too. You know how important it is to be independent these days.
I just can't stand the thought of any guys getting close to you. It's totally your call now. It's either me or the job.
I would choose you over a heartbeat. I could not believe I had been such a fool to leave my job just because he asked me to. At first it seemed like he cared so much, taking care of our finances and everything. But it did not take long for me to realize that he was not just overprotective. He was controlling. He did not want me to go out with my friends, even for innocent nights out. He said he was worried about my safety, but now I see he was more concerned about losing control. Then there was a new problem. With all the money he got, Jackson started getting into gambling. At first it was just occasional poker nights with his buddies, but it escalated quickly. Soon he was spending our hard-earned money at casinos and betting on sports events. I tried to talk to him about it, but he brushed off my concerns, saying it was just a way to relax and have some fun. But it was not fun anymore. His obsession with gambling took a toll on our finances. Bills piled up and we struggled to make ends meet. Jackson, babe, we need to talk about your gambling. It's spiraling out of control and it's affecting both of us.
What are you talking about, sweetie? I can handle it. It's just a bit of fun.
Fun? Jackson, we are drowning in debt and you have lost so much money lately. It's not fun anymore. It is an addiction.
I can't believe you're accusing me like this. I know what I'm doing.
Jackson, please, for me.
Okay, maybe I'll try to cut down a bit just for you, love.
One day, when Jackson returned from work, he carried something I could never have imagined in my wildest dreams. A stack of divorce papers in his hand. My heart sank as he handed them to me. I could not believe what I was seeing. Despite the challenges we faced and the struggles we endured, we were in this together, or so I thought. Jackson had always claimed to love me, but now he was ready to walk away from me. I couldn't believe there was a time when he wouldn't let me talk to guys, and now, out of the blue, he was handing me divorce papers. Jackson, why? We've been through so much together. We can work through whatever this is.
Jean, I don't know. It just felt like the right thing to do. We're not living the dream life we thought we would, and even though I love you, I can't keep going like this. It's over for me.
We promised each other that we would stick together no matter what.
I know we made those promises, but things have changed. This is happening. You cannot stop it. I'll see you in court then.
After the whole courtroom procedure, we finally divorced. And 3 years of marriage ended just like that. I could not find closure in the vague excuse he had given for ending our marriage. The thought of reaching out to him one more time to rekindle the old flame was tempting. And I could not bring myself to give it up just yet. I decided to make up a reason to talk to him. I thought I would say that he had left some belongings at our old apartment. It was a silly excuse, but I needed to hear his voice to understand what had gone wrong. So I dialed his number. The phone rang and rang, but Jackson did not pick up. I felt a pang of disappointment, but did not give up. I left him a heartfelt voicemail, pouring out my feelings and asking him to call me back. Hours turned into days, and there was still no response. A week later, after countless attempts to reach him, I received a message from my phone provider.
You cannot send messages to this conversation.
I assumed he had blocked me, making it clear that he had moved on. It was one of the biggest mysteries of my life. Jackson, the man I had thought would be by my side forever, had disappeared without a trace. What had gone wrong? Why had he given up on my marriage? Why had he walked away without a proper explanation? It was then that I knew I had no other choice but to move forward. So with my parents' financial support, I picked up the pieces of my life and started on a journey to rebuild myself. It was not a walk in the park, but I was determined to bounce back. I realized that to boost my career prospects, I needed to upgrade my skills. So I dove into self-improvement, determined to add some shiny new bullets to my resume. After some hard work and personal growth, I landed a gig as a junior brand consultant at a fancy arts and antiques company. It was a pretty big deal for me and a clear sign that my efforts were paying off. Little did I know that this job would lead to even greater things. In just a year, my commitment and hustle caught the attention of my bosses. I was promoted to the main brand consultant. Finally, I could start securing my financial future. But wait, there is more to my story. I also met someone who I was kind of familiar with. Joshua. You can also call him my present husband. I was taking a trip to the grocery store to pick up some groceries when he bumped into me.
Hey, I've seen you somewhere. Are you Jackson's wife?
Yeah, that's me, his ex-wife.
I remember now. I once did some business with Jackson and he got himself ridiculously hammered. You had to swoop in and save the day.
Ah, that infamous night. It's a hilarious yet dark tale for sure.
So what happened between the two of you, if you do not mind me asking?
I don't know myself. It's a long story.
Well, I can have your number and we can talk about it over coffee if you want.
Sure, why not?
Great, looking forward to hearing that story.
Well, after that casual coffee date with Joshua, we got talking about the infamous night when Jackson was, well, Jackson. As I started sharing my side of the story, Joshua really listened. He was not just hearing me, he was genuinely listening. It felt liberating to have someone care enough to understand what I had been through. Joshua helped me see that Jackson was a textbook narcissist and I had been stuck in a toxic and abusive situation for way too long. It was eye-opening. We kept meeting up and sometimes for a bite or just hanging out. Joshua treated me with respect, something I had almost forgotten. He patiently let me heal and grow, never pushing me to talk, but always there when I needed to vent. Gradually, I started falling for him, not just because he had been a great listener when I needed to talk about my Jackson drama, but also because he was an amazing person, funny, kind, and down to earth. We had this connection that felt like it was meant to be. One day, as we were lounging in a park, he looked at me and said, "You deserve to be happy, Jean. You deserve someone who loves you for who you are." And that's when it hit me. He was talking about himself, too. So, after 2 blissful years of dating Joshua, he finally got down on one knee and asked me to marry him. You can imagine how over the moon happy I was. My parents were thrilled, too, and it felt like the fresh start I had been waiting for. A man with stability, a fantastic personality, and a heart full of love. What more could a girl ask for? It was like the universe had aligned all my lucky stars in my favour. During those 2 years, everything was falling into place. I was excelling at work, living the dream life I had always dreamed of. Out of the blue, when I was riding high on this cloud of happiness, something came along to shake things up. It was one of those moments when you realise that life is not a straight line. It was the day after my wedding, and I was on cloud 9. I had just become a married woman, and it was my first day back at work as Mrs. Jean Baker. I noticed a cake on my desk. My first thought that it was probably from one of my friends, a belated congratulations for the wedding or something, but as I opened the box, my heart sank. There, in big, bold, red letters, the cake spelt out, "Cheater." I quickly closed the box before anyone else could catch a glimpse of it, so there I was at my desk wondering who had played such a sick prank on me when my phone rang, with an unknown number flashing on the screen.
"Hey there, Jean, it's me."
"Jackson, I can't believe you're calling after all this time. Where have you been? This is unbelievable."
"Well, I figured it was time for a little catch-up, see how you're doing."
"Catch-up? Are you kidding me? You disappeared into thin air after our divorce and... Wait, did you send me the cake?"
"Yeah, I did. Well, it's not a catch-up, to be honest. Consider it a loyalty test, Jean. I wanted to see if you would still pick up when I call, old times and all."
"A loyalty test?"
I thought you would still be mine, and you just move on. I was right after all. Look at you. I knew I could not trust you. You belong to the streets."
"Jackson, are you hearing yourself?
You are the one who divorced me without any reason, and now you are calling me names when I moved on?" "Oh, I heard about your little wedding that happened yesterday, Jean. I hope I'm not disturbing you on your honeymoon."
"How on earth did you—"
"News travels fast, especially when your ex-wife is hooked up to your old business acquaintance."
"That does not give you the right to call me and complain.
You made your decision and I made mine." "Jean, you've always been a bit helpless, haven't you? I bet you could not pay your own bills. That's why you clung to that poor Joshua. I must say he has grown a pair too. Can't we just move past this? Just check your message. I just sent you a picture."
I could not believe it. Jackson sent me a picture of his laptop screen. Displayed boldly on it was his bank account balance, showing a total of $300,000. Where did all this money come from?
Gambling, among other things. Turns out you were the one holding me back all along. You did not stay loyal, did you? Remarried an old friend, eh? You always were a bit of a loser, and you were not doing so well financially, I assume. That's why you married Joshua, right? Some things never change. You will always be the same, Jean, forever struggling and needing help. Well, have fun staying poor.
You know what, Jackson? I don't need this. Don't you ever try to contact me again. You are just history to me now. Bye."
Be careful choosing your words, Jean.
I slammed the phone down on Jackson. What was he even going on about? A loyalty test? It felt like he had been treating my life as some sort of a joke for the past 3 years. was becoming increasingly clear that he had always been a narcissist, but it had taken me this long to see it. Strangely, I did not mention the encounter with Jackson to Joshua. We had just celebrated our wedding day, and for some reason I did not want to spoil our happiness. After that creepy Jackson encounter, I started feeling unsafe. It seemed like he might want to harm me, but I kept it to myself and eventually pushed it aside, hoping it would fade away. Then, 6 months later, something totally nuts happened. One quiet Sunday night, Joshua and I were chilling at home watching a movie. Suddenly, the doorbell rang and I answered it cautiously. Guess who? It was a sloshed Jackson, smelling like a brewery. I was shocked and scared. Why was he here and what was he up to? Joshua stepped in, all protective, but we were both baffled and uneasy. I need to talk to Jean. Jackson, you are drunk. Go away. We do not want you here. Not now, not ever. Please, just let me. Jackson, please, just go. Buddy, she's not your wife anymore. I need to talk to her. Jackson, leave now, or I might have to call the cops. I admit that a part of me was worried about Jackson. His life had taken a nosedive, and it did stir up a tad bit of concern. But, let us be real, it was not my problem anymore. After everything he had put me through, all I had for him was pure hatred. Once Jackson was gone, I decided to open up to Joshua about the phone call. It was a difficult conversation, but Joshua proved to be my supporter. He had my back, no questions asked. He made me feel safe, assuring me there was nothing to fear. The next day, Joshua was at work and I found myself alone at home. My phone rang, and it was Jackson calling again. What's the deal, Jackson? Why are you calling me now? Jean, I need to apologize for everything I put you through. Apology? After all these years? What brought this on? I always believed no amount of therapy could ever fix you because you're so messed up. Jean, I'm in a tough spot. I need some financial help. I know you might not have much, but financial help? I knew this was not some innocent apology call. Calling me poor? Remember, you have always thought I lacked potential and control over my life. That is why you tried to manipulate me, but you know what, Jackson? Check your messages. I hung up on Jackson, then I sent him a picture of my bank balance. $600,000. Double of what he had in his account a while back. Jackson called me up again, and this time he was crying. Jean, darling, I'm genuinely sorry for undomestic you and trying to control you. Where did you get all this money from? Stop crying in front of me. It's pathetic. Where I got my money is simple. I earned it. I'm a brand consultant. Oh my God, Jean, can you please help me? I've lost everything to gambling. I can't afford a place to stay. I beg you, honey, this could be a game changer for me. Funny how tables turn, isn't it? Look at you now. Almost homeless, with a gambling addiction and a narcissistic personality. No family, no friends. Nothing. Meanwhile, here I am with a great job, a loving husband and a happy home. Who's the problematic one now, you toxic piece of trash? Jean, please. I'm in real trouble here. I need help. No more chances, Jackson. How can you even think I would help you after all you did? This is it. One more call and I'm taking serious action against you. Jean, please, we're done for good, Jackson. It has been a month since that call with Jackson, and it's safe to say that he's been nowhere in sight. Back when I was with Jackson, I thought love was this intense, burning red kind of thing. He had me convinced that it had to be all fiery and passionate, but you know what? Now with Joshua, I've learnt that love is not like that at all. Love, real love, it is more like a warm, steady, golden glow. It's not about drama or control, it's about support and lifting each other up. But I can't help but think about all the men and women out there going through similar situations, stuck in a toxic cycle with their exes. I want to tell them this. Break free from that pattern. Your ex might make you feel worthless and convince you there is nothing better out there for you, but let me be clear, there is. You deserve all the happiness, love, and success in the world. Just like I found it, you can too. It's not easy and it takes time, but you're worth it. Do not let anyone drag you down or make you doubt yourself.